The second concept of national characteristics states that people have universals or similarities in human nature, but reveal the diversity of one individual or community to another. These elements are the source of various human circles. Rupa. Appearance. Adat. Customs and rules. Language. Literacy. Letters. Culture. The philosophy and values of the system emphasize the internal or spiritual element of human life, indicating that humans need spiritual guidance and wisdom in their lives. Initially, Sunda Wiwidan did not incorporate many taboos or prohibitions. The core rules of behavior consist of two elements. Don't do things that other people don't like, something that other people don't like, and don't harm others, don't do things to hurt yourself. However, out of respect for holy places Kabuyudan, Sasaka Pusaka Wana or Sasaka Domas, and following certain traditions in rice farming, Sunda Wiwidan outlines many restrictions and taboos. The most taboo, called Bayu by the Kanaks, is applied to those who live in the holiest place on earth, the Badai people. Dalam that inhabit Sasaka Pusaka Wana, sacred place on earth. In the Sundanese Wiwidan tradition, prayers and rituals are carried out through songs and chants from Sundanese rhymes and dance songs. The ritual practices can be observed during the rice harvest ceremony and the annual New Year festival called Sarantan. This traditional ceremony is still performed annually by the more traditional Sundanese people in Kanaks, Lebat, Banten, Siptajalar Kasepahan Banten Kidal, Sisalak, Sukabumi, Kampung Naga, and Sagugar, Cunningham. Traditions and ceremonies. Although modern Sundanese may practice Islam or adhere to other religions, influences and value systems, certain elements of Sundanese Wiwidan customs, beliefs, and culture have survived into contemporary times. In terms of their influence on social values and cultural customs, the Sundanese have never abandoned their traditional Sundanese beliefs. Sangyong Siksakandam Karasian. Translated by Wikisource. Translation in Indonesian. Yes, this is what the wise will teach those who seek happiness. There is a teaching called Sangyong Siksakandam Karasian for everyone's vigilance. This is the word of the wise. Explained Sangyong Karasian Cage. This is Sangyong Dasa Krita. To grip the crowd. Anyone who wants to establish the means of welfare in order to live long stay in the world. Succeeds in livestock. Succeeds in agriculture. Always excel in war. Its source lies in the multitude. This is a reality called Sangyong Dasa Krita. The shadows of Dasa Sila, Maya. Sangyong Dasa Marga. The embodiment of the Dasa senses for the welfare of the living world in a wide world. This, the way, is for us to improve the world of life. Clean roads, fertile plants, enough clothing. Clean backyard, clean home page. When the house is filled, the barn is filled. The chicken coop is filled. The fields are taken care of, the tapping is maintained, the lifetime is long always. Healthy. The source lies in humans worldwide. All life support. Grass, trees, vines, shrubs, lush green, all kinds of fruit were grown. There was plenty of rain, the trees were tall because they were fertile, giving life to the people. Yes, that is Sangyong, means of welfare in the life of his name. This Sangyong Dasa Krita which is mentioned as a shadow Sangyong Dasa Precept. Yes, Maya Sangyong Dasa Marga. The manifestation of the Dasa senses. This is the reality. Ears do not listen to what is not worthy of being heard because it is a door to disaster, the cause for us to get hurt at the bottom of the blasphemy of hell. But if the ears are nourished, we will get priority in hearing. Eyes do not just see what is not worthy of being seen because it is the door of disaster. The cause of our harm is at the bottom of the blasphemy of hell. But if the eyes are nourished, we will have priority in sight. The skin should not be agitated because of heat or cold because it is a door to disaster. The cause of our suffering is the bottom of the blasphemy of hell. But if the skin is preserved, we will get the priority that comes from the skin. Do not taste the wrong tongue because it becomes the door of disaster, the cause we get wretched at the bottom of the blasphemy of hell. But if the tongue is preserved, we will get the virtue that comes from the tongue. Do not kiss the wrong nose because it is the door to disaster because we get hurt at the bottom of humiliation. Hell. But if the nose is nourished, we will get the virtue that comes from the nose. The mouth should not speak carelessly because it is a door to disaster at the bottom of the abominations of hell. But if the mouth is preserved, we will have virtue that comes from the mouth. Do not take arbitrary hands because they become the door of disaster at the bottom of the abominations of hell. But if the hands are preserved, we will have the virtues that come from the hands. Do not step your feet arbitrarily because they become the door of disaster. The cause of our harm is at the bottom of the blasphemy of hell. But if the feet are preserved, we will have the virtue that comes from the feet. Don't use it too much. For being the door of disaster at the bottom of the abominations of hell. But if the tumbang is maintained, we will get the virtues that come from the tumbang. Baga Purusa. Tumbang should not be used in adultery, because it becomes the door of disaster. The cause of our harm is at the bottom of the blasphemy of hell. But if the pras purusas are preserved, we will get the virtue of the how and the purusas. Yes, that is what is called dasa krita. If the 10 doors, lust, have been maintained, the people will be perfect. Likewise the king's deeds. This is called dasa pribhakti. The child submits to the father. The wife submits to her husband. The servant submits to the master. Students submit to the teacher. Farmers submit to Wado. Wado submits to the orderly. The orderly submits to the nurse. New subscribe to Mankubumi. Mankubumi submits to the king. The king submits to the gods. Gods submit to Hyang. Yes, that is what is called dasa pribhakti. This must be done, mandated by the true wise. Praise and worship to Shiva. My respect to the 5 orders of the Sangyong. Panka means 5. Tata means word. Gata means body. Yes, that is what gives goodness to all. 5 characters is a human teacher. 5 characters are realities that are seen, felt and witnessed by our senses. The teacher is a place for people to ask questions, because it is called a human teacher. Ignorance only existed after the world came into being. This is the reality. His name is Panka Byapara. Sangyong Pratiwi, land, water, light, wind and space. Said the great human virtue. It is all ours. The soil is likened to skin, which is likened to water, namely blood and saliva, which is likened to light, namely the eyes, which is likened to the wind, namely the bones, which is likened to the sky, namely the head. That is what is called Pratiwi in the body. Yes, likened to the ruler of the earth. Yes, incarnate into Rama, Rishi, Queen, Disi and Tara. These are the 5 sons. Pratiwi is the Mangakuhan. The water is the Katimarala. The light is the Karunkala. The wind is the Sandongreba. The sky is the Redakandaya. This is Panka Kusaka. Sang Kusaka on the mountain. Sang Garga in Rumban. Sang Mesti in Mahamari. Sang Purusa in Madiri. The Patanjala in Panjulan. If we understand all the Sangyong Wuku. 5 on earth are certainly, seemingly, pleasant states all over the place. The place is called Purva, Daksina, Pasima, North, Madhya. Purva is east, where Hyang Isora is white. Daksina, namely the south, temple Hyang Brahma, is red in color. Pasima is the west, where Hyang Mahadeva is yellow in color. North is north, where Hyang Vishnu is black in color. Middle is the middle, where Hyang Shiva, various colors. Yes, that is Wuku 5 on earth. This is Wuku 5 on the priest's Ranaha. The secret is felt in the speech. Tapa feels in wandering. Sitting feels firm. That certainty is felt in the impossibility. The release is felt in giving without being given. Remembering being without limits. A few Wuku 5 to the Almighty Priest. This is welfare capital. That is, they are the 5 gods. All represent their own name. All see apparently alone. But if it doesn't feel like it is bent to bend, it is straight to meet its straightness. Because of human deeds it is prosperous, because of human deeds it is safe. This is Hulan's job. For the way we serve. The job is called Wabudi, the behavior is called the road. Should be afraid, careful, respectful and polite in behavior. Indeed, in act and in speech. Likewise when in the presence of the king. Remain faithful in your devotion, will recover from the 10 stains, will definitely be erased and lost. Suffering, met with happiness. If you really carry out your duties as Hulan, that is more adequate than desire. As high as a hill, meditating on the top of a mountain because it is forbidden to meditate on an elephant or lion's muzzle, prone to major disaster. It's human behavior that will be of use to many people. Also Sanghi who tormented Karasian. Beware so that we escape from Pankagati. So as not to be miserable. Don't betray yourself. Don't betray yourself. That is said to be self-betrayal. Namely, what is said is not, what is not said to be true. Yes, there you have it. His determination is full of trickery. An act of slandering, hurting others' heart, that is the reality is called betraying oneself. What is called betraying another person is plucking belonging to someone without permission, taking without asking, picking up without notifying. Likewise, robbing, stealing, robbing, mugging, all kinds of treacherous acts. Yes, betraying someone else's name. Likewise, summarizing taking people's things with both palms of the hands, putting hands to take people's things, grabbing, seizing, groping people's houses, likewise constantly staying in the master's house, the ruler's house, or the king. Such things should not be done, not done by a hulan. Do not forget to use words of respect, courtesy and decency, devotion and morality to fellow human beings, to relatives. Thus to our king, the feet are for cross-legged and the hands are for worship. Be careful when we have a converse with the employer of the landowner, with both parents, with women prohibitions. So it is with our king. If we are entrusted with a secret, do not be hypocritical in our minds, as well as wrong answers. It looks like our king's face is displeased. No, you dummy. Later the results of our meditation will fall. The merits of our ancestors will be lost. The results of our toil will be lost. We will be hit by misery, will be expelled by the king. If we are not going to be loyal to our king, if we get sick later, become weak due to lack of energy, or feel confused, then openly say that it is too much. Therefore learn to be loyal to the king. But when we act, don't complain, don't be disappointed, don't be reluctant to be ordered, don't be jealous, don't be envious of friends who are like us. In this way, when you see someone who is praised, has got a concubine, sees who is loved by the king, then your loyalty will be faltering. No, you dummy. The bad result is to be sad and hurt. It cannot be treated. Incantation will not work. The intention will not be carried out because it is not justified by the 18.LEMURIA karya. That is when we become members of the army. Don't get angry. Even if we get angry, do not disrespect the customer because he is assigned the king. When we get orders, don't forget the 18.LEMURIA cage, so that we remain loyal to our duties. However, if there are those ordered to the north, south, west and east, don't simmer can't, don't simmer can't, don't simmer can't, don't dharma can't. Yes, that is what is called chesyatna, for precautions. This is the explanation. The so-called siwak can't is seduced by food and drink. What is called simmer can't is taking part in the actions of those who steal, seize and summarize. That is called a misstep. What is called simmer can't is to take pieces of gold and silver merchandise without being ordered by the owner of the goods. Yes, selling his name wrong. What is called dharma canton is helping the party who is hated by our king. The king told him to take, arrest, or go kill someone who was disobedient. Then he gave a heart because he was hesitant, because he was bound by a sense of kinship, because he was a brother. Loves what is hated by the king, hates what is liked by the king. It is not worthy of our doing as hulan. This is for us to obey the king, so that we can be made as hulan for a long time, so that our king will recognize us for a long time. Follow 18.LEMURIA karya cage. Look at the ruler. If the king is angry, we must also be angry with the king. If the king praises, we must also praise with the king. If we don't share in praising or criticizing the king, that is a sign that we are devoted to the king. If we ordered to go to the forest, do not forget clothes and blankets. If not with the king, pay attention to the rules in the karya torment. The rule is, don't pick vegetables in other people's small fields, also in other people's gardens. Our good deeds will be in vain. Forest garden boundaries, wood marked with ropes, fruit trees marked with twigs, propped firewood, covered fungi, tiwuan nests, odang, bees, hornbills, woodworms, parakan, or whatever has been given the babayan knot, do not take it. Likewise, lowering someone else's gaze should never be done because it is the source of sin and the root of slander and tarnish. When you find your way, big or small, hurry up and get dressed. Because maybe we meet you with Gusti or Mantri. We have to get to the left and crouch down. If meet a poet, Brahmin, king priest, Mankubumi, son of a king, rich or poor, likewise when meeting a Guruloka, we have to be on his left because he is the king's teacher. Remember in the karya cage and pay attention to the temptation. Do not walk with all women of prohibition, all rara hulanjar, so as not to be tempted on the way. Likewise, holding his hands, sitting together on the rods, in halls alone, is called temptation in the seat. Standing behind the house or in the yard alone, is called temptation where his name stands. Responding to people coughing, clearing their throat, throwing out phlegm, also responding to mothers who sing, called oxen entering the arena. Leaning on the former saint sitting on a stake, on wood, on a rock, even though we see it and after they leave we replace it leaning on it, called the challenging ox. It all needs to be remembered if you want to escape from hell. Likewise sepung inns, local dwelling, veranda, sebalai halls with all saints, all women forbid, are called cousin buffalo. Yes, everything needs to be remembered, it is called the name Pemili Act. All of that should never be imitated by all of them. If we want to, bring then talk to the ruler. If approved, discuss the pain, death, disappearance, grave all, take it. Will not make the rules. If it's not approved, don't. If you insist on taking him, if he is sick he must be taken care of, if he dies or is lost he must replace himself according to one's ability, so be careful. Here again, if we come by all the pangurong, dasa, caligara, tribute, polaris reuma, show love in our behavior, think of it as the arrival of family, brothers, sisters, brothers, children, friends, family or nephews. This is the way it is. But if there is love for us, provide the food, drink, blanket, cloth that we have. Indulge in the puja and take refuge in the gods and gods. If we are ordered to work to the fields, to attack,